What's going on, everybody? Emmett Ferguson here, and this is the fourth review on the show Undercover Billionaire, but it's the fourth episode. So, one review per episode, but the fourth review of the season. And this has been a great show so far, especially if you if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business person, if you ever created something or wanted to start something, and even if you just want to get rich quick, if you're that type of person, which nothing wrong with it. When I say that type of person, I mean in a respectful way of, if you want to get rich quick, if that is your goal and your purpose, and you love ideas of that can help you make money fairly quickly. This show is basically about that, where you take a billionaire. If there's ever a get rich quick show, this is it. I mean, it's literally a billionaire who gets dropped into a city with $0, or sorry, $100 on a pickup truck, and his goal is to transform that $100 into $1 million in 90 days. So making $1 million in 90 days. How do you do that? There's some lessons in the show. Now, the whole purpose of the show is not to teach people how to get rich quick, but to show you, I think, and that's just my perspective, of showing people what the skills and abilities that you need. Because the show does a great job in the first two episodes of literally coming up with these ideas of going from $100 to, your first couple thousand. But here's where the shift happens from being broke to creating $1 million business. Is a lot of it comes from mindset. And I know most people, like, if you hear a story of somebody struggling from poverty and coming up, it's not the same as somebody who is a billionaire with their TV crew behind them, starting from $100. You think it's not the same, but really it is that mindset shift, I think, of someone who gets out of the rat race, is somebody who makes that shift from, trying to make those couple of dollars, maybe $100 a day, to, finding those opportunities to be able to flip businesses or real estate or cars into thousands of dollars. And how do you scale that up quickly is the ultimate lesson from here. And it doesn't come from aiming small and, the small potatoes. So, that aside, after the first, that's my takeaway from the first four episodes. Because, yeah, you can sell things. It shows you how to, get your first job, how to get the job in whatever city you're in, and the ultimate concept of take anything that's open, whatever you can do. And at the end of the day, it's not even that job that he uses to leverage. When I first saw the show, I was like, oh, okay, maybe he's going to jump into a business and consult them on how to grow their business. That's not really how business happens. And, what my takeaway is that if you ever want to be a business owner, or if you want to make this big shift, it's not from jumping into a company and, consulting them how they can be better, or, adding value every step so that eventually, you move up really quickly, and then at some point you're seen as a part owner or whatever. But because when you're seen as an employee, it's going to be really difficult to transition into those opportunities that are going to make lots of money. Now, that's the non-traditional path, right? You got the traditional path. You got some very successful people that have dedicated their entire careers to one big company, and that same company has seen tons of mergers and acquisitions, and they moved up over time, and they maintained a good personality that would position them well for leadership, and then they become massively rich that way. That's one way. But then there's the alternative route for people who are not corporate. Right? People who are not corporate, who want to, make their first couple $1 million and find the idea and build that business. And I think that's where the value of this show comes in. So, back to the show, right? That was a little rant about the show and where I think it adds value and, what you can get from it. Outside of the entertainment element of this show, which it is pretty entertaining. You get to see the conversations and how something real gets created. Aside from all of the entertainment side of it, I think there are some great lessons to be learned, especially in episode 4. You can watch my other reviews, and in my other reviews, they're basically about how the first 3 episodes went about. But in this next episode, episode 4 of season 1, I think it's a great lesson on transitioning from that, just doing perspective, just making things happen, right? That hustle mentality, the mentality that most starting entrepreneurs, I think, have, is that hustle mentality. Like, let's do this, let's do that, let's hustle this for $1, let's hustle that for $5. But and the constant doing for money versus leading, guiding, and creating something worth talking about with a group of people. Because it's in this episode that that Glenn Stearns really starts to shift from that, okay, I got to do this, I got to do these things just to get myself, so I can get myself a roof to live under and running water, right? Because in the first couple of episodes, he was in a truck, but now he's actually got somewhere to live, at least for a couple months. So aiming for 3 months because he wants to accomplish this $1 million business within 3 months. So I think it's important to realize, like, not the step-by-step elements of it. Okay, because like you're gonna be like, okay, get dropped into town. Now I got $100. Now I gotta find a tire to sell. Now I gotta find a car to sell. Now I gotta find it. It's not that step-by-step as much as it is that shift the mentality of what's possible. Because when you know what's possible, which I think this is probably going to be the more difficult thing for anybody who's doing this as a learning experience, who's watching the show as a learning experience, is that it's not the how-to step-by-step that's going to give you the most value, but the required mindset shifts that you see throughout the episodes of going from selling things for $1 to, realizing you got to aim for bigger game and what opportunities are out there, to shifting to having to create your first office, building your first team, to doing that hustle mentality, to it's still a hustle mentality for the business owner, but like to help others hustle and to find others that you're building a team with and ultimately to craft that business with. Because it's not done alone. And as a hustler, there's a part of the hustler that feels the need to do everything, right? That wants to do everything, that takes a hand in every part of the business, because you're that entrepreneur or that solopreneur, right? But to shift from that solopreneur, that mindset where you're actually finding employees, finding your team, finding other people to work with that you trust, that you're going to build a business with, how do you go between that? And it's a huge gap. And although, he doesn't go through the motions of explaining how to do it, this isn't a show about coaching people. It's a show about literally showing how a billionaire would do it. And they do a great job of showing how the billionaire does it. And it doesn't come from spending, well, he probably did spend 10,000 hours, in certain environments, but it doesn't come from each individual skill. It doesn't come from mastering how to flip a house, how to flip a car, how to build a relationship, how to do all that. It doesn't come from building all those steps from scratch, right? It comes from taking years of experience that he has as a millionaire, billionaire, whatever you want to call it, business leader, business manager, investor, lender, and deal maker. It comes from years, decades of that experience in that and how that carries down to somebody who's just starting out again. So regardless of how much money you've got, I think that the whole entire mindset shift is just the biggest part. Because when you have that mindset, when you realize what's possible, when you know something's possible, when you've had the experience working with people, I mean, it's interesting because I think he's in his 50s in the show and everybody else looks like they're barely in their 30s. And just starting off on their first, maybe second businesses. and here's this guy who's done much more, and to realize that there's a tremendous experience gap, and the thing that closes that gap is not just experience in doing every part of the business, but in actually building the business in a mindset of seeing what's possible, in a mindset of communicating effectively with other team members, where I think the show really picks up and starts to speak to in this episode, right? Because again, the first three episodes, yeah, they're great. Like, if you got $100, what do? You go out and try to find any job you can, sell anything off the street that you can, and find yourself a place to live, eat, and sleep. Get safe, get out of the cold, right? That's the first couple weeks. Now, going into the first month and a half, you got to shift that game up when you got 45 days left to achieve $1 million. That is how he's showing you how to do it. And it doesn't come from these small steps. It comes from literally taking every single thing that you have, leveraging that, take that to the next level, managing your time. How do you sell a car, a house, renovate the house, start a business, have business meetings, and meet with I imagine he's talking to the producer and camera crew throughout the night or whatever, like come up with the plan and ideas and meet with the development council to create all of this. And I imagine he's got his own business to run too. He's probably got a separate cell phone there, and he's got to speak with his directors or board of directors at least an hour a day or something. But that aside, there's a tremendous amount to be learned from this show. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business person, investor, lender, you want to get rich quick, you want to get rich slow. You want to move from that employee 9 to 5, and you've ever felt like you want to escape the rat race, or you want to do something bigger, but something's stopping you. This is a great show to watch, because I think he does take every step of the way of financial, where people can be financially, starting from $100 in a pickup truck again, like literally going through that journey. Like, he doesn't stay in that space for more than a week and a half, because quite frankly, he doesn't need to be there, because he's able to leverage his experience to do much bigger things. So with that said, if you're watching this video, thank you so much for reaching this point, and there's a link in the description below that actually guides you to the Amazon link where you can watch the show on Amazon. How exciting is that? That is how Discovery and Amazon have teamed up, and now Discovery has put the show on Amazon Prime, where you can order the show season 1, all 8 episodes right now. And regardless of where you are in your entrepreneurial journey, maybe you just want to be entertained by a reality show. This is a great show, because it's a little different. It doesn't seem like it's just there just to entertain. It's there to inform, to help people get some great lessons. And stay tuned for the next videos, and hope you watch the other episodes as well. Check it out. I totally urge you to do it. If you've ever wanted to start a business, if you've wanted to and you don't know how, or you tried to start a business but you couldn't quite get the logistics and everything, or maybe if you're even struggling a little bit, for the price of 2 coffees you can get this show, or at least get a couple episodes. So with that, thank you so much for watching this. Have a wonderful day, and wish you success, everybody.